Joseph, it's good to have you, as always.
Always good to be here.
This matter found its way into court, is it not?
Yes.
Let's backtrack a bit.
I mean, so we all know that first and foremost, the election took place on December 7th, like many other parts of the country as well. The only difference being that after the close of polls, there was no winner that had been declared. In fact, if we move a bit further on, quite shortly, we are going to show you how things have panned out by way of that particular process. But in terms of after the election took place, there was no winner in that particular area, like I did indicate. Shortly afterwards, the decision was taken by the Electoral Commission in terms of who to declare as the winner. So initially on December 10, they declared Rabra Obing as the winner of that particular election, the NDC's candidate. And you saw that on your screen with that declaration taking place now. Now, we know that on 20th December 2024, the EC nullified the results of the Ablekuma North election. The explanation the commission gave was to the effect that the officer, like you said, declared it under duress. And so for that reason, they decided that they were not satisfied with the results. They again made a point that they didn't think that the declaration was done with the full complement of the sheets that they needed to do that particular declaration. It's one that generated a lot of discussions, both on the side of the MPP and the NDC, both claiming that, well, as far as their own coalition is concerned, they had won that particular constituency. And so that became a heated dispute with the EC setting aside the declaration that had taken place. The question that remained was that, what would the EC do next? Would they try to collate the outstanding ones, the disputed ones, which it says that it was not part of the coalition, or will it do without it? And that is what became a heated issue, and the matter eventually ended up in court. So the constituency dispute litigated at the High Court and the Supreme Court as well. And we know that in terms of what transpired in these various places where this particular matter came up for discussions quite closely. First, at the High Court, there was a bit of a mandamus application. The question being asked was that the AC was under a legal duty to perform a function, and so they should be required to perform that particular function. Eventually, the High Court ordered the EC to complete the coalition on January 4, 2025. And in line with that, the EC had attempted, in fact, it was one of 9 constituencies. So they started collating for the other constituencies. And even before they could get there and conclude that, an aspect of the matter went over to the Supreme Court, questions being raised about whether the NDC was given a fair hearing or they were given an opportunity to be heard at the High Court. Eventually, the Supreme Court agreed with them on that level and said that, look, it was wrong that they proceeded without giving the NDC a hearing. And so that some of those declarations were set aside by the Supreme Court, meaning that the matter would now have to go back for the EC, back to the High Court, in fact, for the arguments to take place. Then afterwards, the issues raised again about the EC now going ahead after the High Court also giving the green light for the coalition to take place. So post January 4, 2025, multiple coalition attempts have taken place, but the EC have simply been unable to declare a winner. And
this is as a result of the chaotic scenes that characterize this attempt to recollect the results at this polling station. One of the major contentions of the NDC was that the Electoral Commission was relying on scanned pink sheets to collect in some 62 constituencies, that's polling stations where the violence took place and all of these pink sheets destroyed. Let's take a look at some of the chaotic scenes that characterize the previous attempts by the Electoral Commission to recollect some of the polling station results in Ablekuma North. Take a look.
Come and see this signature and this signature. Come and see this signature and this signature. Please. We want authenticated signatures. Media, come and look at the signature. Media. Media, look at the signature. Media, this people.
Some of them screenshots, pictures of the pictures. Yes, you can have about 7 leaflets. No, you can just take one. As the presiding officer, you can keep one. We have the original and then the carbonized copies.
The chaos never really ended. And that's why the Electoral Commission was never able to conclude that process of recollation in the Ablekuma North constituency. The last time we heard the Electoral Commission, they indicated they were waiting for some protection from the Ghana Police Service. The minority in Parliament also petitioned the IGP. And then the Deputy EC Chair was in Parliament, indicated that they're waiting for a roadmap from the Ghana Police Service. In fact, to provide protection for them.
In fact, he had made a point that they've not completed their work, and until they complete their work, they cannot decide whether or not to not declare or to rerun or not to do anything. So at that point, it appeared that there was not a clarity on what to do now. But we are learning a bit more from their statements today. They made a point that when they had a meeting with the NDC and the MPP, the NDC took the view that it should be rerun in 37 of the polling stations because the EC had relied on scanned copies from the NPP to declare. But the NPP are taking the view that there were only 3 outstanding, which should be declared, and afterwards the results should be announced. So the 3 should be collated and the results announced. And so it was a disagreement between 3 and 37. But the EC says that after deliberation with the parties, they've decided to go ahead and now do it in terms of they were running 19 of those particular polling stations.
Joseph Akable, appreciate you for this. Now, one man who has sat through all of the meetings of the NDC in this Ablekuma North matter is the Deputy Director of IT and Elections for the NDC. Rashid Tanko Computer is also the acting CEO of GIFEC. He's joining us on Zoom right now. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. You understand you are in the United States attending to official business, but thank you for stepping out to talk to us tonight. I mean, this development from the Electoral Commission, or the communication from the Electoral Commission, that 19 of the polling stations out of the 37 that you wanted a rerun of the elections, does it come to you as some refreshing news, or you were still expecting that the 37 polling stations should have been rerun as you had earlier hoped?
Alfred, yes, let me say good evening over there in Ghana to your cherished viewers and listeners as well. This is good news for democracy. I mean, democracy is one thing that we have chosen for ourselves in Ghana, that we should be governed by rule of law and not somebody whims and caprices. And so I am so happy with the outcome of the decision by the Electoral Commission to rerun 19 polling stations. Alfred, let me run you through some issue that came out about 2 weeks ago. We had a meeting with the Electoral Commission. I was part of the meeting with my colleague Madi and our council Edwiji. The MPP was led by their Director of Election, Evans, and a former MP. In that meeting, it came out that the 62 that we were following them up, that they should have a rerun for the 62 polling stations. 25 of them were not scanned copies. They were carbon copies being presented by the MPP then. So we were magnanimous at the meeting. We agreed that fine, since they were carbon copies and not scanned copies, we will accept them as being true reflection of the elections. So the 25 carbon copies results were added. So that reduced the margin to 37. Now the rest of the 37 were scanned copies. And then that was how we ended the 37. And that's why the MPP is not telling the general public. The NDC were magnanimous at that meeting and said, look, we want resolution to this Ablekuma North matter. And therefore, these 25, which were carbon copies, we will accept them. And we accepted them. And they added, so that's why it reduced to 37. Now, with these 37, which were scanned copies, we told them that, look, let's go for a rerun for the 37 because they are scanned copies. We cannot accept it. Then the MPP, they were still insisting that they wanted the 37 to be taken out and leave with only 3 so that the 3, they can be used to declare them as winners. That's what they were trying to do. And we said, how can we rely on your scanned copies?
I see.
Who accept that? And then so the Electoral Commission with the 2 parties involved, that is the NDC and NPP, we all agree that, look, this is the position we have presented to you. Go into conclave.
All right.
You are the commissioners. Take a decision on it and report back to us. Then we'll look at it critically. Then before that, we realized that Dr. Bossman Asare was in Parliament reporting and talking about the issue when they hadn't gotten back to us. So we knew that whatever Dr. Bossman Asare was telling Parliament was not the true reflection of what transpired at the IPAC meeting that we held.
I see.
And he sat through it.
If you say it wasn't a true reflection, he had indicated, in fact, he was asked a direct question as to whether a rerun of the elections in these contested polling stations is one that is going to be considered or is an option for the Electoral Commission at all. And he ruled that out 2 weeks ago, that the rerun was not an option. And 2 weeks on, we're hearing this position by the Electoral Commission. What could have changed? What could have changed?
That is, Alfred, that is where we as a political party, the NDC, we are surprised at the 10th of event when he went to Parliament and made such statement. Because that was not a true reflection of what happened at the IPAC meeting. In fact, we're all there. In fact, Madame Jean Mensa herself presided over the meeting. And where we accepted the 25 to be taken away from the 62 and reduce it to 37. And we said they should go and look at the 37 at conclave and report back to us. So we're going to have another meeting with them. Fortunately, the second meeting was held yesterday, and my colleague represented us. So when the meeting was held, it came out that out of the 37 that were still contesting, 18 of them, their presiding officers came and authenticated the 18 scan copies and said, yes, it was true reflection. They actually had the results at their polling stations. And then our team, which was led by Madi, my colleague, and then Eduji, counsel, our lawyer, accepted that fine. Since the presiding officers accepted and authenticated those 18 scan copies, then it should be taken out. Leaving 19, the 19, nobody authenticated it. None. They were not authenticated. They were just fake scan copies being brought by the MPP. So that's how the results came out, that they should go and have a rerun for the 19 areas to use to declare it. So why is our colleagues running away from this?
I see. So then, how do you respond to those who are saying that this outcome is just Electoral Commission pandering to your demands? I mean, for a rerun, because the NPP wasn't asking for a rerun. You were forceful about a rerun, and now the Electoral Commission is saying that is what they're going to go with.
Alfred, this is not the first time we've been saying that to resolve this Ablikumanov, we have to go for a rerun for certain polling stations. That has been the issue is that anytime we have an election, there are 2 documents that we use, either the original pink sheet or the carbon copies. The carbon copies are given to the political parties. So if the EC doesn't have original pink sheets, we can come with the carbon copies. And then they will bring their officers to authenticate our carbon copies, whether it's a true reflection of what transpired at the polling stations. But the issue of Ablikumanov, these ones that we are talking about, in fact, the 37 were areas that they didn't even have carbon copies. Our colleagues don't have it. The EC doesn't have the original one. We, the NDC, we were very truthful to them that we don't have it. So in that case, if you don't have it, then you have to go for a rerun. This is not the first time. We did it at Akotia under Afarijan, Dr. Afarijan. It happened before. And we went and had a rerun for some polling stations to declare results. And so this is not the first time, Alfred. We have done it severally, and we have used it to resolve issues.
Well, quickly before I let you go, already we've been to the constituency and engaging with some of your members they say that the 19 polling stations, majority of them are described as strongholds of the MPP. And this constituency, mind you, has been won by the MPP comfortably over the years. It's a seat that the MPP has held since it was created. And so we've got a job on your hands, is it not? Because we understand there's some disagreement as well between the chairman of the party in the constituency and Irabuna Obin as we speak, your candidate. True?
Alfred, we are ready for the election come 11th. We are ready as a political party. As we speak now, I can tell you, we are already in a drive here in the constituency. Our team is already in the constituency as we speak now, doing the preparation work for next week elections. I'll be joining them pretty soon. We are going all out to make sure that the 19 polling stations, we want to win all the 19 polling stations. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has done extremely well for the short period we have been in office. Extremely well.
Okay.
And Ghanaians will definitely vote for us. And so we are going to activate our new body cameras for the 19 polling stations. We are not going to relent. We will make sure that Madam Irabuna Open is elected as our MP for that constituency, and she will take her seat in Parliament after Friday. I'm assuring you, next Friday. We are moving into it. We are not leaving any stone unturned.
Okay.
The party leadership, everybody is going to put hands on deck to make sure that we win the seat.
And that's in the next 11 days. In fact, 9 days is a date to watch. It is July 11. This is the date that has been communicated by the Electoral Commission for the rerun of these elections in the 19 polling stations. Rashid Tanko, Computer, thank you for joining us.
I'm grateful. Thank you.
Is the acting CEO of GIFEC and the Deputy Director in IT for Elections for the NDC.